Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to a brand new kind of thing on my channel. Like I've said in the past or recently, I'm doing things other than Dragon Ball at this point. I'm just bringing on random
Other than Dragon Ball?
Well, that brings away the surprise. Anyway, Dino, please introduce yourself and your guest.
So this is actually weird. This is like, I don't remember the last time I did a video or even a discussion that's not Dragon Ball related, but this is going to be interesting. It's a lot of fun too because I just finished a series for the first time with my girlfriend. Well, she watched it already before. Hi.
Hi.
And the second I tweeted I was watching this, Mark hit me. I was like, oh my God, let me know how far you are. The second you finish, we got to do videos, discuss stuff. And I'm like, all right, sure, I'm down. And I literally just finished it like, what would be like a week ago?
Oh, it was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? So,
yeah. I've watched it twice all the way through.
I have been trying to get him to do this video ever since, honestly, guys. Even before, I'm such a huge fan. And before, I guess you already clicked on this video, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about Dexter. And I know it's not necessarily the most beloved show at this point, but I do think it has like its general fan base. People who did like the show, did like the way it ended, and just generally love the series, the books, the television series, the mobile game they made, everything that they've done with the series.
I played that.
Much, but I haven't ever played that. Was it fun?
It was awful. And it crashed a lot, so.
We need that Dexter Dokkan game, you know?
It looked pretty bad. But anyway, guys, so today we're going to be just talking about general open discussion, open question, whatever you want to call it, about the end of the Dexter series. And before we get started, I want you guys to go into the comments section below and tell us exactly what you think about the ending of Dexter. Was it good? Was it bad? What did you think? And then after you stop watching us or hear everything that we have to say, then go back into the comment section and tell us what you thought about our opinions and whether we've changed your mind or not. But anyway, I'm just gonna throw it over because I know I'm pretty inundated with this stuff. I've gone through all 8 books, I've gone through all 8 seasons, I've done I'm just generally in love with the series. I'm gonna throw this over to Dino just because he's fairly brand new at this. He's just recently stopped watching it. Dino, what do you think?
You know what's funny is the entire run of the season, as soon as I finished season 4, the Trinity season, everybody was like, oh, you're gonna hate it after this. It just goes down. I liked it. It was very enjoyable. I mean, there was that one season 5, where the only thing that bugged me was there was a little bit of lack of energy, which I then found out was because of the cancer treatment, which now makes sense. But overall, I thought it was great. And Dexter could have only ended 2 ways. One, how it ended with him basically just leaving and starting a brand new life. 2, getting killed by, let's say, someone like Deb, which I thought was going to happen at a certain point. I was just waiting for Deb to be like, you know what? Fuck this. You ruined my life. This needs to be this is the right thing to do. I gotta catch this motherfucker, and then that didn't happen. But the way that the path that they took in the movie, how basically he just escaped everything, I thought that was gonna happen. But the only thing I didn't expect was I thought he was gonna go off with what's her face, the girl, and then when she left with his son, and then he went the opposite direction into wherever the hell he ended up with because he had a beard and everything. That kind of threw me off. But ultimately, as far as how it should have ended, that's the only thing that makes sense. Like I said, either he should have died, which he didn't, or 2, basically just escaped and started a whole new life somewhere else. And now the question is what is he doing? Which I noticed that's why I ended it. They ended it like that because they want you to question what is happening right now after the cameras were cut off.
Totally agree. Oh, yeah. I mean, it ended exactly how I wanted it to end because my thought is that if he had gone to, Argentina and tried to start this whole new life, he would have been totally kidding himself. And he knew that at the end. He knew that he would have, it would not have been the life that he would have wanted. And he essentially saved his child and his girlfriend, he saved them by leaving, in my opinion. And that was the one most noble thing he's ever done.
The interesting thing about this is, as you're watching Dexter from the start, you have this guy who's basically a monster. And throughout the series, you're watching him become more and more human. And when he's finally, the most human that he can get, he, drops his humanity completely. And,
but in doing that, he actually gains more humanity.
That's a good point.
Ironically.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is he drops his humanity to, basically clear that out of, to get this out of his life. But now it's he doesn't have the one thing that kept him human. It's what's going to keep him going back? Because I feel like had he gone to Argentina, because he at the point, he had a point in the show where he was like, you know what, I don't have the need anymore. Like, I just don't feel like I have to do this anymore. And it's like, okay, so he's been cured of being basically a psychopath. Now he's going to live his normal life and go to 9 to 5 and whatever. But now it's like he gets rid of that. Now what is he doing in Oregon or wherever the hell he ended up? Like, what is he doing right now?
They say Michael C. Hall actually talked about it in the way he thought about his character's development or Dexter's development throughout the show. His interpretation of how that ended was like Dexter had put himself in his own little purgatory, his own little kind of self-imposed prison where he's not allowed to do anything besides, just normal everyday stuff. He doesn't let himself kill anymore. But besides that, like, that's just Michael C. Hall's interpretation. Mm-hmm. Like you said, they kind of left it open. One of the reasons they left it open was because Showtime has been pretty adamant, even like right after the show, but even still, like the last, I think, very like they tweeted this thing out last Thanksgiving where there's like, he's sharpening his knives, and it brought off all these rumors about them bringing back the series at some level. They've always been talking about doing some kind of a spinoff for the series in which they didn't want to kill Dexter because they thought, it's their flagship series in terms of what Showtime's actually brought out in the last 10 years. And it was like what you're talking about earlier in terms of like there was only one way that this was going to end, or two ways. It's like either he's going to get away or he's going to die. And personally, I've never had a hard time thinking that, like, okay, well, if he dies, and that would be cool. In fact, one of the I think like the first showrunner talked about the way he wanted to end the series. I mean, his wish, and he was saying that he would have had it end with Dexter on the execution table, getting the lethal injection and everything, and he looks over and everyone he's killed, like all the people he's killed throughout the whole series, is sitting there watching him. They have like the people who look in, and you have like Trinity, Rita, all these people who are just completely like, you recognize them but you don't necessarily know them, or all the big bad people from all the series and everything. That would have been cool, but honestly I kind of like what we got more because it's a little bit more realistic in that sense. I want to say, though, and a lot of people don't pick up on this, a lot of new fans, a lot of old fans don't pick on this. You really have to kind of go back and watch the series as a whole. But there are certain, like, scenarios that were playing out throughout the first season and the third season and stuff, and things that were said between characters that really played out later on in the series. And the problem was they just waited too long to actually play those things out, because there was little bits of conversation, little motifs through the first season about, the storm is coming. This hurricane is coming, and it's like, everything's breaking down. Nothing is as it was going to be, and my life is going to change. And it really plays out in the 8th season. They try to bring it back with the whole hurricane motif and everyone getting like completely like out of their way, where Florida is just flooding with this hurricane and everything. And then like they're sitting there talking. What?
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
But they brought that back.
He's having dream sequences, and he's doing he's having all these dream sequences of the big storms coming, and it's like this multiple episode little mini arc where everything's falling apart. And then even in season 3, they're sitting there talking in Dexter's office, where Deborah's sitting there going like, she literally tells him, if I'm ever a vegetable, I want you to unplug me. Like, I'm done. Like, I do not want to be in that situation. And nobody remembers that because it happened in season 3, and we're talking about something that happened in season 8, never mentioned again. And personally, when it comes to the way it ended like that, not just him leaving, but also the way he treats Deborah, I've always really liked that scene, and it took me a long time to think about this. So a lot of people might not actually link this stuff together, and they were really mad at the way Deborah was treated in the series. But personally, I really liked it because one of the motifs, or one of the like kind of tropes from the series that they played out throughout the series, was the way that Dexter related to people. He tried to relate to Trinity. He tried to relate to all these people that he was interacting with each season, all the big bads, everything else, Brian, Trinity, everyone else, Lumen and everything. The one way he kind of ultimately accepted them or interpreted their meaning or anything and kind of embedded what they were meant to him throughout the entire series was killing them or letting them go in the bay. The Bay Harbor Butcher thing, the whole like taking them and dumping them in the bay was him kind of symbolically embedding that person, their motif or their concept into his personal being, and was able to move on from that particular issue in his life and move on to the very next one of the very next season. And having the very last person he dumps into the bay, at least that we saw, being Deborah, feels, if not a little cheap, but also, just genuinely genuine, in my opinion. Like, it feels like there was no other way that situation could end if they played it out the way they did.
That's a lot more beautiful the way you put it than how I thought of it.
I just thought the scene was awkward because it's like, there's no one going to question the fact that this man's walking out of that hospital with a body and then a boat, no cameras, nothing.
I'm sure, like, to be fair, like, it's not all beautiful. There's a lot of shit that really pisses me off about the way that they treated that show going forward. I know, like, you already talked about, like, season 4. Like, I was with you. I was one of those people, like, you told me you got done with season 4, and I was, like, prepared to hate it because I hate season 6. I hate season 6. It's so bad.
Wait, which one is season 6 again?
It's the religious one.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's the one where they take the entire season to express, like, they take the entire season to trick you. The entire they build the entire season up for that one little, this guy is not real. He's his dark passenger, the same way that my dad is my dark passenger type of thing, and like all this other crap.
Yeah.
Never existed. He's just been talking to himself this whole time. And
I would just like to say I called that in the early part of the season.
Did you?
I did, because remember I was like, he's not really there, is it? And you didn't say anything. You were
Oh,
like,
yeah. You're right. You said that.
oh man, I was completely, I was pushed. I was completely like caught off guard by that. I was just done. But my point is it built in a weird way after the 5th season, in my opinion. It kind of got away from the story they set forth in season 4, and I was really disappointed with that. But one of the things is, at least in my opinion, y'all might have different opinions, but at least as a fan of any one thing, I feel like we can't let ourselves hate. If you're a true fan, you can't let yourself hate the way something played out. You have to kind of find at least your own interpretive meaning behind it. And that's what I've really tried to do with Dexter. And honestly, I feel like that exercise, because it wasn't perfect, has made it better for me, because I've kind of dwelled on it more. I've thought about it more. It isn't just an instantaneous, universally beloved ending. You have to defend it from people who want to hate on it, like, just without reason. And I think that that's one of the reasons I really love the series so much.
The first thing I thought about when I ended Dexter was Death Note, because everybody had different opinions of how Death Note should have ended too.
I loved the way Death Note ended, by the way.
I thought it was supposed to end the way it did too.
Yeah, because just like in Dexter, you see, I believe in karma. I believe in cause and effect. If you are creating that cause of death and destruction, and you have God complexes, and you're living that life, there is only one effect that is possible for that. There is no other way other than, like, you're gonna die, or you're gonna, like, basically repent or something,
Right.
which is just not realistic. But yeah, both of them, I mean, Dexter didn't die, but if he did, I would have been like, okay, that's fine. But he did go off and go to wherever that was.
Not Argentina.
No,
I think.
but not Argentina. If you had gone to Argentina, I think I would have hated that ending, because it's just
That would've been a cop-out.
It could not happen that way.
I personally, at least with the Argentina thing, I felt like it was weird, at least for me, that out of all this thing, we've seen 8 seasons of this guy brutally murdering people, and I felt like the worst thing he did was abandon his child. But I realized it was for the better. Like, it was just a weird concept for me. But I agree. He couldn't have gone to Argentina. It would have been a cop-out.
And
Too happy.
if he did, they would have ended up dead. Like, that's the only other scenario. Like, either way, whether he wanted to bring his child and his girlfriend down with him, it would have ended badly.
I agree with the whole, like, Death Note thing. Although, like, you and I did a video about this. I can link it in the description below about like our interpretations of how it could end, and I disagree with you on that because it's kind of on the flip side in terms of I was the one who was binge watching Death Note, and even though I really appreciate it, I enjoyed the concept, I felt like the ending was more of a cop-out than what it could have been, just because of the way they decided to build it up to a climax and then keep it going for 11 more episodes really just kind of irked me in a sense. And I guess a lot of people could say the same thing for Dexter in terms of like, instead of taking it like a couple episodes longer than it should have gone, like 4 seasons longer than it should have gone, or at least 3 or 2 or however many people hated. And then I think that was one of the reasons that people actually hated the show. They thought it went on too long. They didn't necessarily utilize the characters in an interesting way after a certain point. A lot of people talk about once Deborah figured out who Dexter was, it broke the connection between them and the show is never the same. I think that's a genuinely decent argument, and they never really knew how to deal with that concept. So there's a lot of interpretations of this ending. There's a lot of discussions to be had in terms of way people enjoyed one thing versus another and their own personal perception of how it played out.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, what can I say?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we're gonna I guess we're just gonna leave it at that. Anyway, I want anyone who's actually listened to this, like I said in the beginning, I want you to tell us what you thought about the ending of the series in general. Have you read the books? Anyone who hasn't read the books, I'd say if you're interested in the series, you should definitely go read them. They're completely different and far more brutal than they are in the TV series. I mean, the villains, if you like the villains, if you like the curiosity, the intelligence, or the genuine creativity of everyone in the TV series, then you're going to love the books, because honestly, I got kind of sick to my stomach reading that stuff. But if you haven't yet, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully we're going to do more Dexter stuff in the future, because like, as you probably noticed, I am a big fan of the stuff I want to do. I want to do as much stuff as possible because I really love it. Anyway, please make sure to go check out Dino Rhymestyle at his channel and Carabug at hers. And I feel like those guys, they cover more anime stuff. This isn't necessarily something that's usual for them on their channel. They just kind of have a genuine interest in this. They wanted to do stuff on this channel, and I thought, man, like I just want to break out into more stuff that I'm really passionate about in general, so I brought them on. Anyway, guys, thank you both for joining me on this.
Thank you so much.
There's definitely going to be more.
Yeah, I hope so. Guys, please make sure to go check them out. Please make sure to rate, comment, subscribe on this channel, and we're going to catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.